everyone, welcome to On The Move episode 4. I am Mentors, and today we're discussing a common tradition that exists in many cultures. Marriage. For those who don't know, I wouldn't want to assume everybody knows. Marriage is a culturally and often legally recognized union between two people called spouses. I think it's interesting how we see less people interested in getting married as the years go by. As a matter of fact, in 2020, the United States Joint Economic Committee reported that the US marriage rate has hit a new record low, stating marriage rates hit an all-time low in 2018, the most recently recorded year. The national marriage rate fell from 6.9 to 6.5 marriages per 1,000 people from 2017 to 2018. For that reason, I decided to come to where the future of America is: college. Specifically, the University of Texas at Austin, my alma mater. Hook 'em. I want to hear young people's opinion about marriage. Is this something they're looking forward to, or is this something that has never crossed their mind? Let's go find out. Do you guys want to get married someday?
Yeah, that's the goal, hopefully. I'm actually currently going through a heartbreak, so
I'm sorry.
No, but that's fine. After hearing Miley Cyrus's new song, I could do anything. I could literally do anything. Everyone could just go through heartbreak and still be okay at the end.
Tell me, what's that song though, so I can go listen to it after this?
She released it 2 days ago.
Flowers. Okay.
It's so good. Listen to it.
Okay, I will. Well, what is your number one reason for wanting to get married though?
I'm a very codependent person, and I don't know, sometimes I just feel like I can't just do all of these little fun activities by myself. I need someone next to me to make those memories with me.
So it's more for companionship.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Companionship. Just kind of doing stuff she's my friend, but just doing stuff together as friends, but just in a more romantic aspect.
Yeah. Do you want to get married someday?
Yeah, I definitely do.
Why? What is that thing at the top of your list that makes you want to get married?
Well, normally people define me as being very independent, very goal-driven, that type of thing. But another part that makes me me is my relationships. So not necessarily romantic relationships, but just being able to confide in people and being that close knit with somebody is something I hope to have one day, just because I feel like my goals are better suited for me knowing that I have people supporting me through them.
So pretty much companionship.
Yeah.
So would you say it's less on the finance reasons or love or some people do it for tax reasons and shit? Would you say yours is far away from that and strictly companionship?
Yeah. Okay, so I know finances are important. I grew up in a very family oriented environment. My parents are still married. I have a brother, and I know finance makes it's a big part of why we get to do what we do. It's a big part why I get to go to this university. So it's yes, that's important, but it shouldn't be the sole reason.
Do you want to get married someday? Not me, but anybody else.
Sure.
Sure?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. Stability. Just feel like it's the thing everyone does. Happy children, picket fence, all that.
Are you religious?
No.
Okay. So it's more about societal and just stability for you.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Anishka.
Anishka. I like that name. Where is it from?
India.
India. That's beautiful.
What's your name?
Mentors.
Manthers.
Yeah. I like the confidence you just said. What's your name? I like that.
I mean, I'm curious. I haven't seen you on my For You page, so but maybe tomorrow.
Okay. Tomorrow. It just might be your video on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll see.
So, did you grow up in the US?
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting since you come from an Indian background. We're talking about marriage. How is marriage seen over there?
I think marriage is more about bonding families together. So it's more about that stability rather than just the pure love aspect. So I think that translates a lot here when you're growing up, just that arranged quality to make sure everything fits with family and culture. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm Nigerian. I come from a Nigerian household. So marriage there, how that's seen is, yeah, it's very similar. We're so the same. But in the U.S., it seems more you can get married, but you can also just live together.
Yeah.
So what is your take on that? Would you like to just live together with your person, or would you want to put a ring on it?
I mean, if you put a ring on it, then you have the tax benefits and all of that. So that's nice. But I don't know. I would be fine with that. I just don't understand why you can't just get married at that point, you know?
I will say some people, well, some of the people that I have spoken to say it's because of legal purposes, like they don't want to like join things together, maybe like bank accounts or file taxes together or something like that. They just don't want their names to be tied together and they want to be free.
Yeah.
So, knowing that, what do you think the future of America is looking like in terms of like, marriage and union between two people and stuff?
I mean, I think things are becoming more progressive to where like ideas that might seem like unusual before are just becoming like a little more standard. So there's more like diversity of options, and I mean, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I think that's where we're headed, just like a lot of different like options available to people, and people are just doing their own thing, and everyone's starting to like respect that.
Would you be open to a partnership instead of a marriage?
I guess I would be open to it, but I wouldn't like prefer it.
Okay.
Like,
Oh, sorry.
I don't know. I mean, I'm also only 19, so we'll see.
What age do you want to get married?
Okay, when I was younger, I always said I'd be married by like 25, but that's seeming too soon. So probably like late 20s. Okay. Yeah.
Do you know that the rate of like marriages going on in the United States are actually on a decline?
I did know that. Yeah.
You didn't?
I did.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I did know they've been on a decline.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know. I think the social sphere is really complex, right? But I mean, I grew up in a family. Both my parents are married, obviously, and like that's had an impact on me. So
Sorry to cut you off there, but what kind of impact has it had on you? Positive or more negative?
I think impact, like a positive impact.
Okay.
But again, it's like it's hard to generalize always, right? There's a lot of factors that have been in that. But essentially, how I feel about I guess the decline of marriage is I think there used to be more of a necessity for women to get married, and it was kind of like, well, this is my path in life, right? There was really no career prospect, so it's like I'm gonna go marry this rich man so that I can survive. I think it's interesting now because the social sphere has changed a lot. Women have a lot more rights, a lot more opportunity. So I think a lot now, I think like Anna Maria was saying, there's not as much, people don't really, I think people will fall in love or something, right? And they can get married. But I feel like now less people get married for religious reasons.
Do you want to get married someday?
I think so. Again, it's not one of my top priorities at the moment, but down the line, I feel like that is the norm. It's not.
Well,
Yeah.
so I'm guessing you getting married like gives you some kind of satisfaction.
Yeah.
Not to put words in your mouth, but it does.
Totally. I think there's I think being loyal to someone and like having that accountability and like spending, saying you're going to spend a life with them is very valuable. At the same time, I think people jump into that. I think that's why, divorce rates are higher now, is people don't realize the commitment that marriage is. Down the line, I'm interested in getting married, but I'm very like conservative with it, where I'm like, I need to be at a certain point in my life and like make sure this person is the one, which is hard to know.
You did mention loyalty there.
Yeah.
So do you think that can be the same degree of loyalty in a marriage and in a partnership? Like two lovebirds just doing life together as opposed to them being married. Do you think they'll have the same degree of loyalty?
I think in theory, yes, but when there's a legal aspect to it, then I almost want to say there's an incentive to not, or to be loyal, right? Because then you have to go down, get divorced or whatever. But I think generally, I mean, we all desire someone who we want a serious relationship and someone who like cares about us and is loyal to us. So I don't know. I think it's a hard question, but I want to say it doesn't matter. But maybe when you're in a marriage, there is more, the legal constraint of it kind of makes it a different case.
Do you believe one can have a good life without being married?
It is possible. It's possible if you don't have certain desires, if you're
What desires are you talking about?
fleshly desires mainly, but you can't have a fruitful life single.
But people would argue that you can satisfy those desires without getting married. So you necessarily don't have to get married to satisfy your fleshy desires.
Well, it depends on what school of thought or religious sect you follow. So if you're a Christian and you're not married, yeah, you have those desires, then that's a red flag. So if you want to quench those desires, you should get married.
Yeah, that's cool. I like how you said that. So for you, are those desires why you want to get married?
That and also companionship and having that feminine around,
Feminine around.
that feminine energy around.
Okay. If you were in a marriage, what would be the top things you want to get out of that marriage?
Well, I feel that when you get married with someone, it's more like a symbolical union with someone. So I think it's making your love like more, how I would say, like strong. So it's a way of linking to people in some way. And I think that if I get married with someone, I would like this person to show me love every day and also to be respected and taken care of.
Some people would argue that you can get all of that without saying I do or putting a ring on your finger. What would be your rebuttal to that?
I think that you can. So as I said, when you get married with someone, I feel it's more like a symbolical union. Like, okay, there are papers in there, but when you can be with someone without being married and loving that person in the same way, but when you get married, I feel that there is like a deeper union that makes the relationship stronger and harder to break in the future.
Yeah. Speaking of, we're already talking about marriage. Kids are gonna follow.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think how the child thinks is gonna be different from a child in two different environments? A household where both parents are married and the other household where they're not married. Let's say they both live together but they're not married. Do you think that child is gonna come out differently from the other child that is in the household where both parents are married?
I think that every child is influenced by their parents. So I think that maybe when you are born in an environment where your parents are not married, you may follow their steps in your future. And in a family where your parents got married, it's easier for you maybe to then get married with someone or see it as an important thing. But in the same time, I think that generations are changing nowadays. And nowadays I think it's more seen couples who are not married. So I think it will depend a lot on how they grow up in the future. Of course, their family is going to influence them, but I think that it might change with the years.
Yeah. How about the impact on society with how things are going? How do you predict this to go, let's say in the next 10, 50 years, let's say in the next 50 years? What do you think most people will be doing at that point, since it's already on a decline?
Okay, so I think that with time people will get married less because in the end, when you grow up surrounded by people who are not getting married, like you see it more as a normal thing. And I think that with time people get married less, so religious matters are more like in a second place, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that nowadays it's not seen as important as it was seen in the past. So I think that in some years couples will get married less. So they will do more like bureaucratic stuff or going to sign some papers, but there will not be that marrying like idea.
All right, who here wants to get married?
Hey, I do.
Why?
Because I want to have someone to love forever and love me and start a family with.
Okay, so your number one reason is for love.
Yes.
Okay.
I think everybody wants to.
Okay, so everybody here wants to get married. All right. Do you guys know that the rate of marriage in the U.S. is actually on a decline? Like it's going really, really down. Like it's tanking. So what do you guys think the future of the U.S. is in terms of like that space, love, marriage, and companionship and all of that? Because what people are doing now is settling, just to live together, and do shit together, but not really be together. So what is your thoughts on that?
Commitment. People don't want to be committed. That's why. If you get married, you have to be stuck with this person for the rest of your life, right? That's why you get married. So that's why it's declining. Why would you get married if you want to have just one partner when you can have multiple? But I want to get married, so
I feel like
it's
the
good.
last generation was like really gung-ho on marrying someone that has a decent amount of money, and I feel like our generation is going to be better at committing to someone. I feel like because we're better understanding than the last one. I think so, yeah.
You hope so.
I think so.
I think in history the reason people got married were for religious or moral reasons or societal reasons, and those are changing. And so for our future, people need to really evaluate why they want to get married and why they want to get married to a specific person. So yeah.
That's really interesting. I like the insight. You said you're 31, right? Okay. What? Okay. She's 11. Sorry. No. All right. So, what are your thoughts on that, though?
I totally agree with you. Like everything's changing, everything's different. We love different now. We move different now. The way everyone vibes together as a couple. Some people have multiple partners. Some people have one. Some people it's just you love freely now. It's different. It's way different.
Totally agree.
That makes perfect sense. Thank you for opening up and being vulnerable. I appreciate y'all. What's your name?
Antonio.
Antonio. Where are you from?
I'm from Mexico City.
Mexico City. Yes. How is marriage seen over there? Like, what is the purpose of marriage? What is the function of marriage?
What is the function of marriage? I'd say the function of marriage is to keep a family together, mainly. So I believe that people that get married over there usually have kids. It's like the standard thing that happens. And yeah, it's delegating roles, being able to everything that needs to be taken care of inside a family gets taken care of, and just making sure that it's a pleasant experience, while that happens, I guess.
Would you be open to just living with a person you're in love with than
without
getting married?
like formally married? Yeah. I personally, yes. Like, I wouldn't have a problem just living together. But then again, if we're already gonna live together and we decide that we're the only people that we want to be with, I don't see why not go through like the formal process. I don't think it would hurt, but I also don't see a problem with people that just live together. Like, I don't judge it or see it as anything.
Do you think there's something that those unions are missing that marriages have?
Yeah, there's.
What is that?
A seriousness aspect. I feel like
like they're just fucking around.
I feel like once you actually make it legal in a way, or you have like a contract, you have to take it more serious. Like, there's less room to fuck around. I just don't know. Yeah, I feel like that seriousness adds like a different extra layer of value to the relationship, for sure.
Are you religious?
I am not.
Okay, so you're not Christian, none of that.
No, so that makes it more interesting, right? But no, I am not. I was raised a Catholic, but I'm not anymore.
Do you know what the Catholic's view is on marriage?
It's very sacred. I believe that. Well, my understanding is. I'm not trying to say anything in name of Catholics, because I don't follow that anymore. But I believe that Catholics take it more like sacredly. Ideally, you wouldn't get separated once you decide to get married. Divorce is not a good thing in the Catholic Church. But I feel like at the end of the day, the purpose inside the Catholic Church is the same, just to keep the family machine going and doing that through God, I guess.
You're from Spain. That's unique. I like that. My question to you is, how is marriage seen there?
In Spain, well, I believe that mainly maybe in the West, marriage is seen as something that is important, something that you should do when you are prepared. I don't think people jump into it a lot, although maybe now there's more divorces now going on. Yeah. So I'd say maybe something like that. It's not in my top priorities, although I do imagine that I'll get married.
No, it doesn't even have to be a priority right now. I know you're in college, but like someday you want to, or not really?
It's not really on my plans. Okay. Marriage for me was... My parents are married, but I've never seen it as something that is super important, I think.
Why? Like, what is that thing that makes it not really important? I'm really curious, genuinely.
Well, I think that I grew up in a generation where people believe that you do not need to get married in order to prove your love to someone. I've also heard that there comes a lot of complications with marriage, like I've heard some economic problems, or just the legal documents. Like, it's a lot, and you don't need it to prove your love to someone.
Don't you think there can be just as many complications when you're not legally or religiously bonded with somebody? Like, there's no sense of stability. You don't think so?
Well, I can imagine some people might see it like that.
For me, I don't think that's the case. I also like it. It's different if you're religiously married with church and all of that to legally. I think nowadays more people are more legally married than religiously married because there are less complications. So, yeah, but I don't know why actually.
Thank you. I really appreciate your insight. Thank you so much. All right, guys, that's everything. You heard what everybody had to say. Different reasons. Some were like religious purposes. Some were like for stability, everything. I personally want to get married because I want more stability. You know, I prefer, you know, some sense of structure and all of that. So I'd want to get married someday. I want to see a finger. I want to see not a finger. I want to see a ring on my finger. I want to see a ring on her finger as well. I want to be able to say she's mine and say she's mine forever. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. What are your thoughts? How do you think this is going to play out in the future? Do you want to get married? Do you just want to live with somebody you love and you enjoy being with all of your life? Let us know. I really want to know. So comment down below, share this video, like, subscribe if you're not subscribed. And as I always say, let's love each other. No killings, no shootings, no stabbings. Let love win. No matter the cause, let just love win. Don't kill. It's not that deep, y'all. Only if it's for self-defense. Just letting you know. Please, no senseless deaths, no shooting, nothing, none of that. I'll see you guys later. Remain safe, and I love you guys. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.